Welcome back, minions. It has been a while, but the Night Below campaign has returned, and there's a new lineup of characters to follow. Exciting. I should warn you, however, that this new group is comprised of all good-aligned characters, led by the most insufferably noble of the PC classes, a Paladin. Ugh. They might be goody-goods, but that will just make it all the sweeter when Doom finds them, yes? Roll the opener. And, as the wizard often says, let's have at it. As is usual, the action is recreated using the Order of the Stick monster for every season cutout minis. The new lineup investigating the goings-on in Haranshire are Claude as Dub, neutral good dwarven thief, level 8. Grant as Rotkill, neutral good dwarven fighter, level 7. Les as Aneshk, lawful good human paladin, level 6. Dave as Lee, lawful good human monk, level 6. And you remember him as Bob the Assassin. Sean returns as Octavius, chaotic good human ranger, level 6. NPCs. Since this group makes liberal use of retainers and henchmen, it's worth introducing them as well. Boris, lawful good human ranger, henchman to Aneshk, level 5. Tyranno of Kanata, lawful good human magic user, henchman to Aneshk, level 3. There are also 9 0-level retainers and a first-level sergeant, all with names of some kind, I'm sure. But they're 0 level. Why should I be bothered to learn them? It's the 20th of Myrtle. The year is 1358 by Dale reckoning. Months have passed since Nomgare and the remnants of his team departed Haranshire. With the death of Ranchifus and revelation of the series of tunnels running underneath the breadth of Haranshire, the people above have become more alert and cautious. Kidnappings seem to stop, but they have just been through the winter months, and as the spring thaw melts away the snow, so too does it melt away the caution of Ranchifus's allies, and once again, people have started to disappear, and strange events are being reported within the borders of Haranshire. The leader of the Rangers in Haranshire, a Swan May known as Shiraz, has told Geralt and Quipper to be extra alert. As well, she has beseeched aid of her recent student, an up-and-coming ranger named Octavius. Octavius and his allies have turned heads recently by defeating the infamous renegade wizard known as Bargle. This, along with other heroic actions in Evening Star, has reached Shiraz's attention. So when Octavius was sent to her for his most recent level training, she knew that it was no mere coincidence. Further, recent heroics by Aneshk the Paladin have attracted the interest of higher-ups within his order, and as such he is given the task of investigating the events in Haranshire, complete with a writ of authority by the king himself. You couldn't get any fancier if you tried. And so we pick up as the team arrives in Haranshire, after a long trek through Cormyr. They are flanked by their henchmen and retainers. Only one member of the group is delayed, a cleric of Tymora named Valletta, who will join them as soon as duties allow. The first thing the Paladin Aneshk and Monk Lee notice is a strange sensation washing over them as they travel farther into the borders of Haranshire. This sensation is similar to something that they had been investigating near Evening Star, where it was discovered that certain members of the population were experiencing an odd distemper. Nothing that could be quantified, but present nonetheless, and ever stronger when they grew closer to an ancient complex that connected to the Underdark. Aneshk and Lee comment that the sensation they are experiencing here in Haranshire is similar to what they felt elsewhere. The mystery of why only certain people are sensitive to it remains, though they have suspicions. The team consults their map and opts to follow the road into Milbourne. Arriving on the south side of the Churnet River, they spy a half-built bridge and wonder why the road takes them to the south side of the river. But eventually these so-called experts realize that there's a fording area. Seriously, how do good guys prevail so often? Yeesh. Across the river, they spot a woman baking bread in an outdoor stone oven. The middle-aged lady introduces herself as Parmela and engages the group in conversation, offering some fresh bread. Taking random food from a stranger? Really? When you have enemies? What if it's poisoned, you fools? Minions, I feel this scenario could be a short one. In the immortal words of a great villain for the ages, this is why evil will triumph over good, because good is dumb. When asked about lodging, Parmela points the team in the direction of the Baron of Mutton, the local inn, though she mentions that Durcaster's grandson, the young Ardrin, is still sore about the loss of Jeleneth, their daughter, to whom he was betrothed. Jeleneth was among the many who had disappeared, presumably taken by this Ranchifus and his allies. She laments the loss of their daughter, but she and her husband have accepted it. Ardrin, however, has not and still believes that she may yet live. Parmela offers that the kidnapping stopped for a while after the Ranchifus business, but people have been reported missing across Haranshire, so someone is at it again. The team stables their animals at the livery and enters the Baron of Mutton. The Paladin and Monk, who have both taken vows of poverty, look to Rotkill, the dwarf, to settle tabs. Gee, must be nice to have everyone else shell out for you because your religious beliefs say that money is bad. Actually, that's a good trick. I approve. The Paladin reassures the grumbling dwarf that the Church of Lathander will compensate him and to keep track of his expenditures. They settle the retainers in while the PCs head to Lord Carmen's estate, but are rebuffed by Lord Carmen's valet, who tells them to return when they are attired appropriately for audience with his lordship, and not armed for war. Returning shortly thereafter, unarmed and in finer attire, they are admitted to see Carmen, who has received word from the Church of Lathander that Aneshk would be arriving with his companions. They discuss the goings-on. Carmen is forthcoming with information, getting them up to speed. They learn that ogres have been stalking the southern borders. Giants from the Schreckenmire have been harassing the people of Lord Palfrey's lands. As well, something has happened in the Gleaming Glade, and that the strange lights it is named for have grown brighter at night. Further, the orcs of the Bloodskull tribe are particularly efficient, more so than normal orcs. They do not follow Grumpsh either, rather some other guiding force. When asked if the ogres might be working with the Bloodskulls, Carmen suggests that he doesn't know for sure, but not likely. Octavius has visited Haranshire as he was trained by Shiraz, the third and ranking ranger of the region, above Quipper and Geralt. He mentions that she has also requested aid. Learning what they can, the team returns to the inn. Rotkill and Octavius then go to the Silver Crown to talk to locals. There they meet Grizzler and Parmela, who speak with the visitors. Grizzler is especially happy to see a fellow dwarf, a result of a high reaction roll, of course, though not happy at being seen dancing with the humans by a fellow dwarf. After drinks and conversation, they return to the inn. The team decides that they wish to deal with the ogres harassing the outlying farms, so they plan the 3-day journey to the southern borders where the ogres are reportedly emerging from the Thornwood to attack. They visit Geralt first and leave word to be sent to Quipper that they will return and tackle the underground caverns next. Geralt informs them that the entry near Quipper's farm isn't practical as it's very tight, especially for armored warriors. Not impossible, but not good for a quick entry or exit. The known entry near Carmen's mine has also been sealed, leaving the only known passage at the Broken Spire Keep deep in the Thornwood. The group surmises this has likely been reclaimed by the Bloodskulls in the interim time since Nomgair's actions in the winter. The team provisions and travels south into the farmlands, arriving at Harleton first, then traveling through the Patchwork Hills. The new mire has long since dissipated and returned to normal land without the influence of the Broken Ring of Water Elemental Command. The days are uneventful, and the team arrives at the farthestmost farm, which has been attacked and sacked by ogre raiders. The rangers' tracking is almost unnecessary as the trail is obvious, but nonetheless they follow it into the Thornwood. There's an encounter with 2 dire badgers, but Lee's ability to speak with animals and Octavius's ring of animal friendship makes a nothing sandwich of the encounter. Octavius uses the ring to bring the animals along. Soon enough, they find the ogre encampment. Lee and Boris, Aneshk's ranger henchmen, sneak forth and spy on the camp. They see many ogres, 16 male, 5 female, and 5 young. Plus, there are 7 human prisoners. An ogress butchers a living cow in brutal fashion before them. The 2 withdraw and report. They make a plan where Lee will attract their attention and lure some ogres away, while the rest of the group sets an ambush at a less thick area of the woods. Boris, Octavius, and Dub hide, while the rest form up. Lee heads off alone, sneaking up to the ogre's camp. However, Lee's stealth rolls fail, and the ogres notice his approach. Well, he's gotten their attention at least. Initiative is rolled, Lee loses, and the ogres rush in attempting to overbear and pin him. Attack rolls fail, however, and the monk easily evades them, then sprints away. Bonus attacks for fleeing without disengaging also miss. Lee's massive speed allows for him to return to the group as planned, though a closer shave than he would have liked. They hear crashing and thumping, wondering how many have given chase. 4 ogres emerge from the trees and see the group, formed up and ready. The ogres are dumb, but not so dumb that they don't know an ambush when they see one, so morale is rolled. Failure. Initiative is rolled. Boris' stealth fails, but Octavius scores surprise, thus tripling his planned rate of fire with the bow. He takes some shots, wounding a nearby ogre before they can flee. The ogres move, but one is unable to get to the tree line before the rest of the team bombards with their missiles, killing it. The other 3 flee into the thick woods. The team regroups, planning their next move. Dub stresses that the human prisoners are in danger and that they have to act fast, while Lee laments that the rangers should have closed the gap to prevent retreat rather than using their bows. But it's neither here nor there at this point. Fearing that the entire tribe will return, Boris moves ahead to act as an early warning, but nothing comes. He and Lee then scout ahead to see that the ogres have killed the cows and herded their prisoners deeper into the woods. The team prepares to follow, ready to hunt the monsters down and rescue the people. The session ends there. Well, minions, a new group arrives in Haranshire, and the tone is already different. Goody-goods arrive, shining the light of righteousness from their butts. As this was the first session back, and was pretty much getting things back to speed in the campaign, the new group was just treading over familiar territory. The story picks up a half a year after Namger and his team departed, mid-spring in the year 1358 by Dale reckoning, as this campaign is set in Cormyr of the Forgotten Realms. Players were informed that previous videos are public knowledge, so that they can watch them and use information gleaned. Sean, of course, actually played through most of it as Bob the Assassin. This method removes the need to police player knowledge. It can easily be said that the characters gained any info from contacts or conversations and research. Night Below is meant to be a slow burn campaign, so picking up half a year after the departure of the previous group doesn't disrupt the flow of the narrative in any way. Further, most of that was wintertime, where people in such a milieu simply hunker down and hole up against the weather for the season. That means even enemies would avoid potentially deadly winters and pick up their task in better temperatures. Interestingly, of all the remaining threads from Team Evil's time in Haranshire, it was the Ogre Raiders that attracted this group's attention. This was a development as a result of a random encounter many sessions ago, and not a formal part of the module, but a great example of how a campaign can grow in unexpected directions. The other group had no interest in following up, whereas this group zeroed in on it almost immediately. Further, that strange sensation felt by the monk, paladin, and NPC wizard is an ongoing thread from the DM's overall campaign, which conveniently ties into the Night Below storyline. A mystery the PCs and players have been putting together for quite some time, and the phenomenon was shared by Namger during his time in Haranshire. While it wasn't originally expected that this team would end up in Haranshire, the dissolution of the playing group running Team Evil opened up the perfect opportunity to continue Night Below with Team Good, as it were. Now that the campaign is back, the stage is set, so buckle in and let's see where things go. And while this team is, barf, good, they are deliciously powerful, and one cannot help but appreciate the carnage that will be left in their wake. Just you wait and see how the fight with the ogres pans out. Yes, minions, it's glorious. Well, not so much for the ogres. Oops. Spoilers. More coming soon. Ta for now, minions.